Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim Paola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yeah, that's right. We are live on Real Radio on this Saturday, October 26th. Boom, shakalaka. Want to know on my guesstimate so far today. Great to have you with us. Thanks for being with us. I see you out there, 92.1, 101.7 on the old terrestrial radio. Maybe you're joining us with the iHeartRadio app. That means we are worldwide, and we do live streaming as well on a Saturday. Yes, that's right. You can look at some beautiful faces, or not so beautiful one in my case. Yes, I have the face for radio and the body for it too, crushing it. But you can check it all out. Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, on YouTube as well. That's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, home of a ton of informational chunk videos, plus your live stream on a Saturday for a couple of hours. I'm your boy, Johnny C., Air Traffic Control. I got a toll-free number. If you're watching right now, I'm waving at my boy, Jimothy. I'll tell you who he is in a second. You dial up 877-927-6969. That's a toll-free way to be a participant in the show. Questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate? They're working on a Saturday. The first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy, my brother from another mother. How you be?
Hello, and good morning, Johnny. How you doing today, buddy?
Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you as well.
It's, I know it's only been like 2 weeks, but it feels like it's been a long time.
Has it been 2 weeks?
I wasn't here
We were
last
on-
week.
You were? Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
I feel missed now.
Well,
Oh, we missed you. We missed you. Nobody started the show last week.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Basically, we're all looking at each other.
This is what we heard.
Well, that's because Rauch was sitting in the big chair, and we were joking that he was going to start the show, and then he didn't say anything.
You're supposed to say the first words in that chair, by the way. I'm Johnny C. I'm the one in the big chair, evidently. Let's say good morning to Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, part of the very important people on a Saturday. How are you?
Nice. VIP Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. All the VIPs out there.
Raise your glasses.
Yeah.
Of coffee.
Okay.
What do you
Toast.
got? What you got? What you drinking on there?
This is black coffee.
You're a straight black coffee guy.
No, usually I'm a cream and coffee. No sugar.
No sugar.
But I decided to go black this morning.
You like a little flavor in
All
that
right.
creamer? Or?
Nope.
No. So
No, I don't like it sweet.
Half and half. We do half and half?
I do half and half.
Half and half.
That's right.
But that's straight black.
This one. Yeah. No
Little
cream,
change.
no sugar.
Just one of those mornings. Was it you have a little too much fun last night? Or? Can I gauge that? If you're going straight black, does that mean Mike hit it hard the night before? And
No.
if it's creamer, you're like, I got good rest.
No.
No,
No.
nothing. There's no, it's coincidental.
Yeah, there was no rhyme or reason. I just wanted it like really hot this morning. And when they
Gotcha.
put the cream in,
It does cool it
yeah.
down a
wow.
tad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can understand.
Mhm.
All right.
Why did I want it hot? I don't know.
All right.
What I just decided on. It was impromptu, last minute in the
Okay.
drive-through.
I like that.
neat
flavor
on
his I'm trying. I know. I tell it. I taste the blood. Yeah. Family friendly.
Yeah.
I'm it's a little Q&A session in the morning. Just it's learning
That's right.
your team.
Get to know,
Get to know the
like,
Florida Talk
and
Real Estate.
trust.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more you know. And now if you're ever picking up coffee from Mike, now you have to be like,
You could go cream only.
do you think he wants?
Yeah,
he
just
wants
I'll
a hot?
drink whatever. I mean, I obviously I have drank sweet coffee
All right.
and sweet creamer and all that.
Sure.
So it's just not my
So you don't
preferred.
just you don't take a sip and then spray
No.
it everywhere. What is that?
What is this?
That's good.
No.
What I'm going to take a guess as to what we're looking at this cup over here. We also have our fearless leader every Saturday
Oh,
for 12 plus years now. I've told you he runs a
Yeah.
top producing Keller Williams team. Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team. My guy Jimmy D. Jim DePola. What are you drinking on over there?
I have the same thing every morning. I have a large iced coffee with almond milk only and no sugar.
You
That's
like the
what I
nut
do.
milk?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I
All
have
right.
to do that. I'm lactose intolerant now because I'm
Bite
old
your
fart.
tongue some more.
Yeah.
son.
what do you say? I missed it. What do you say?
Nut milk.
Oh, yeah.
Nut milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Milk
nut
from
Johnny
Yeah.
had me at nut milk.
Long ago, my friend.
Oh
Long
my
ago.
God, are we going to start talking about cornholers again?
No, we're talking about coffee. Why
Yeah.
there's blood dripping
But
out
if
of
I'm
the
having
corner
a
of
hot
Timothy's
coffee
mouth.
like Mike, then I have almond milk and I have one sugar. If I have a hot coffee, I have to have sugar. But if I have a cold coffee, I don't need the sugar.
How long have you been drinking iced coffee?
Probably.
Like you must have
'cause I
made the
only
transition
started-
at some point.
I only started drinking coffee when I was dating somebody that I married the last time.
Oh.
And, yep.
You
I
never
really
drank
only
coffee?
no, I'm not a coffee drinker until
Oh.
about 8 years ago.
Were you
No
tea?
caffeine? Yeah, I was going to say,
no,
was there a replacement?
Iced tea
Okay.
for sure.
All right.
But
You should try the
but-
cold brew. I'm not doing a Dunkin' commercial,
mhm.
but you should try the cold brew.
Well, it's funny.
It's good.
It's funny we were talking about this because one of the things I do in our database of people, and I'm hoping people want to join our database because we give weekly updates as to what's going on in the news and let you know about our YouTube page. But one of the things we ask people when we talk to them a bunch of times in our database, I say, "Are you a Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks person?" And I actually have in our notes whether, like, if it was you, Johnny, and you said you're a Starbucks guy, I have you down as a Starbucks, right?
That's funny.
So that
Interesting.
later when I just feel like it, maybe every couple of months or something, I'll send out 10 or 15 coffee cards to people just to say hello. My mom makes these little special cards that she hand makes. And I think you've seen them, Mike. I'm not
I
sure.
probably have.
But she actually hand makes these thank you cards or congratulation cards, and she makes them herself. And then I throw in Dunkin' Donuts, a Starbucks card based on the choice of what you like, and just say, "Hey, have a coffee on me."
Yeah.
So we do
thanks
that
for
once in a
listening.
while.
Thanks for being a part of the team, the
So,
village.
Yeah. So if anybody hears me asking, "Are you a Starbucks or Dunkin' card?" Because some of them get a little like it's almost like you're asking them a trick question.
Oh, it really is. Like it's almost like what political party
Yeah,
are you
exactly.
affiliated
It's
with?
almost
Yeah.
like that.
Like it's like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I'm a Dunkin's guy. And the reason why I am, I just feel like Starbucks is all candy because there's just so much junk in everything they have. But what really gets me upset about Starbucks more than anything else is the whole small, medium, large. I just won't buy into that whole venti,
Venti
whatever.
Grande.
I don't even know the names for them. I get so angry about it. I don't even want to talk about it.
Nice.
So I'm just against the whole venti thing or whatever it's called. So I like going to Dunkin' because it's simpler. Although they could be a lot like candy too. You'd be drinking liquid candy
I
over
would
there
tell you,
too.
and both have their place. You just walk into a Wawa or a 7-Eleven, you get that like Brazilian bowl, and you just you would like, man, I hope that's been sitting in there a minute too. I want the
Yeah, you want it.
you will be up for days.
Yeah.
You get a grande of one of them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's so true.
Yeah.
They know how to make it.
It's
They
so
do.
true.
That is
The
real
old road trip.
Jimmy's having
Yeah.
a little venti about the venti.
Oh,
Yeah, I am. So I wanted to just also mention that behind the scenes, we've been working on our YouTube channel pretty hard now for about 5 weeks. We're putting out a lot of shorts. We're putting like 4 shorts a day out. For the last 5 weeks, we've been putting 4 shorts a day out. Just basically recaps of what's happened from the show right now.
It's a lot
Later
of
on-
content though.
Tons of content. You know, when we do the show and we throw it into this editing system, we get 40 choices for videos every show. We get about 40 choices to choose from. I pick 4 a day, so that comes out to what, 20 a show. About 20 of these videos per show is what we put out. We're starting to get a really decent amount of views for our channel. We've increased by 2,500% amount of viewers coming to the channel. Now, let me tell you, the channel's disgusting right now. Everything on the channel doesn't look good. It's not a pretty channel yet. We'll get to that a little bit later. But right now, what's really been popular with the
You're
public.
talking about Florida Talk Real Estate on YouTube, right?
Thank you, Johnny. I forgot. Thank you for setting it. Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, but just Google Florida Talk Real Estate and go to the YouTube channel. The shorts is where we're really focusing on right now, and then we're going to be doing these mediums. Yesterday, we had over 6,500 people come and watch our shorts yesterday.
Nice.
So they're really good little powerful packs of information about what's happening in our Florida real estate market. So if you get a chance, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Is everything okay?
Yeah.
Just if you get a chance, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the page and subscribe. It would really be a big help. While we're getting a lot of views right now, I'm not setting it up where I'm asking for to subscribe or like the page, which I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm asking you now on radio to like it on YouTube because I'm a real techie guy.
Yeah, please.
So please like the page, subscribe to the page. If you're watching on YouTube right now, please share it and let other people know. And all the Facebook people, thank you for being live on Facebook too. I'd really like you eventually to convert over to YouTube because I know people do things out of habit, but YouTube is going to be a much better place to watch the show over time.
Ooh, that's
So
like
I'm looking
asking
forward
a
to it.
Dunkin' person
I
to
know,
go
to
to
go to
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
We're still going to be on. We're still going to be on Facebook and everything for the show live. But I know everybody that watches us regularly knows that our show live looks like what I call a Japanese movie from the 1950s, where people talk and the words don't match the people's lips.
Doesn't
We
sing
look
that well.
overdubbed.
Yeah, the
Yep.
dubbing problem. So we know we have a dubbing problem. So how we're going to try to fix that is that we are going, starting next week, we are going to fix the dubbing for the whole show and then upload it as a podcast the week after the show runs. So from 11 to 1, starting next week, you could watch this week's show that we're talking about right now on a podcast on YouTube, completely fixed. So if it's really important that our lips match the words that are coming out of our mouth, then just wait the next week for the podcast. And once we get that up and going, you won't even know that you're missing anything. You might be a week behind, but you're going to get all that information up front. It'll be great.
There you go.
So
Unless
Florida-
we're talking about mortgage rates, then you're late.
yeah, the
You
mortgage
know?
rates that we
Or
got.
early.
We're early.
Yeah, we're going to be early. So we are going to be, usually a week isn't that much of a difference. Although the last couple of weeks it has, and we are going to be talking about interest rates today. Some of the subjects we're going to be talking about today. 3 ways to save huge money when buying a home. Mike is going to give us a bunch of tips about the government down payment assistance programs. Which are really, really powerful. We're going to talk about the top 3 that Mike uses all the time. We're going to talk about Florida. Are we turning into a buyer's or seller's market? A really good question to ask right now, because on Wednesday, the monthly report for South Florida from the Florida Association of Realtors came out, and the numbers are going to be a little surprising to people when we talk about that.
Awesome.
One of the other things I love to talk about is critters. You know, I like talking about Florida critters. They're just fun things to talk about. I read a really good story, Johnny, and when I read it, it's like, oh, I got to talk about this with Johnny tomorrow. I read a whole article about where the heck all the love bugs are. Now, we know that this has been a trending thing over time, but the reason why I'm bringing it up today is I like reading about, I like talking about critters in Florida. But more importantly, the facts I got from this one article about love bugs, I had never read anything like that before, and it was really interesting.
Nice.
So I figured that we'll take a look at that today. And we got a whole bunch of other stuff too. So really looking forward to it. Just want to do a couple of shout outs. And
Before we get to that, let me
I'm
just
sorry.
make sure everybody knows we're talking about Facebook and YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate on both. It's also a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You got access to the entire team. Pros. We call it the one-stop real estate shop for a reason. Buying a home, selling a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do. Everything in between, if it touches the world of real estate, we got a professional to handle that and so much more. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. It's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Thank you, Johnny. Just saying hello to a couple of people on Facebook. Elizabeth and Francis, you guys are always been some of our top fans. Thanks for checking us out every Saturday. They're Facebook people. So thank you so much for coming in. Now, I want to just talk a couple of shout outs and what makes us a little different compared to some of the other real estate shows that you might either listen to or watch. One of the things that we do
By the
is,
way, there's no other.
I
don't listen to any others. I don't watch any other.
Well, thank you, Johnny. Thank you for being so loyal. But even if you were to go around and start looking at available shows in Florida, all of Florida, to try to find out what's happening in the local real estate market, it's very, very difficult to find shows like ours. Usually they'll have like a realtor on the show, or just a mortgage broker, or maybe a mortgage broker and a realtor. And all they do is talk about buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, right? And that's it. But they're not really talking about the market, how it affects you, and how to navigate the market to have the best results for you and your family. And that's because we created the one-stop shop.
That's right.
And that's what gets us into our shout outs. Wanted to give a shout out to John. John's been talking to us for probably about 2 years now, maybe longer. Big fan of the show. And he knew that his mom was not in good health and was asking us for advice about what to do about maybe putting it in a trust before she passes, things like that, and estate planning and probate planning before it happened. Like a lot of people out there, John didn't actually follow up, even though he had the best intentions for that. And then his mom passed.
Oh.
So now he has to deal with the sale of the property, and we have to get him over to a probate estate attorney to figure out the best ways to handle everything, not just the house, but everything else. And he's very overwhelmed. So the reason why he called us is because we're the one-stop real estate shop. So he knows that by talking to us, we can evaluate the value of his home and figure out what it would sell for and how much profit would be made. Then we can get him over to the law office of Paola Krasker to find out about estate and probate planning, if you will, or not estate, but probate planning. And the reason why that's important, sometimes you could do what's called a summary probate, which is a quickie. I call it the quickie probate. You can get it done in 6 weeks, and other probates in Florida could take 9 months or longer.
Whew.
So you have to have a lot of really good information to give to the attorney before you meet with them, so they can help determine if it's going to be the fast probate or the longer probate. And that's what we're going to be meeting with John today. We're going to be meeting at the house today and going over everything and coming up with a plan. And then we're going to get him over to the law firm. And by the end of next week, by the end of next week, he's going to have a very clear plan of what he needs to do. Everything's going to be mapped out for him. And that's what we're there for. He owns his own small business. He's a small business owner. He's very busy all the time. Obviously, he was overwhelmed earlier. So we're going to come in here and take off a lot of the shoulder a lot of that burden for him and get him the answers. So thank you, John, for trusting us.
Yes.
Was it complicated as far as the inheritance, like the what am I trying to say? The kids, was it him and he have siblings? Was it?
I don't
was
even
that part
know all of
difficult?
that. Good question, Mike. I don't even know all of that yet. So we're going to be finding all that out today when we go meet. But that's all really important questions.
Yeah.
I just went through a probate for one of my customers, and it's been over 9 months now. We sold the house like 2 months ago, but the money's just been sitting in a bank account basically, and the family can't touch it till the probate's done. And there were so many people in the probate as what do you call those people? The people that are
I couldn't think of the word.
Beneficiaries
Okay.
of the probate. That there's so many, it's taken so long to go through all of that it's been over 9 months and it's still going. So, it could take a long time. That's why you got to get to the pros and figure out if there's ways to get around that, if that's what you want to do legally around it. But are there ways that you could do a summary probate versus the longer probate? I'm also going to be meeting after that today. I'm going to be meeting B, and thank you so much, B, for meeting with me. She came to us not because of our radio show, but because the contractor she hired, she bought a home in West Palm Beach, which is an historic neighborhood, and her house is designated historic, but there needs to be a lot of work done to the house. So she hired this contractor to come in that specializes in historic homes to try to figure out how to do the work. And after he looked at everything, he turned to the owner and goes, "Are you sure you want to do all this work? I would talk to Jim." And she's like, "Who the heck's Jim?" Right? And he's like, "This realtor who's really, really honest, and he's going to tell you the best place to put your money or maybe not do the work at all." And we spent about a month and a half now researching her house to find out, is it worth doing the renovation or just doing minor modifications, if you will, minor renovations, like take care of wood rot and things like that, and then just sell the house as it is basically on the open market today. So today we're going to sit down and go over all those options. I wanted to thank AJ. Here's another thing about the one-stop real estate shop, AJ Holman from Experienced Appraisers. He, as a favor to me, went over that property, determined if they went ahead with the full renovation, here's properties that are for sale that would be like that in today's market. And then also if we didn't do the renovation and we just fixed things that needed to be fixed in the house right now, this is what he thinks the house would be worth. So thank you, AJ, for helping us that.
Awesome.
And that was done for us. I can't say he's going to do it all the time, but that was done for us for free for the customer. The customer didn't have to go out and hire an appraiser. It isn't an official appraisal he gave us, but he gave us his experienced information to really help out the homeowner B. So I'm really looking forward to sit down with her today and figure out what's best for her.
Have you thought about calling this old house?
Yeah, I know.
See if they
Well,
want to film.
Pavio lives in Palm Beach, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen him at Howley's restaurant many years ago when I used to eat at Howley's restaurant in downtown West Palm.
Why
I'd see Bob Villa
You can
over
still
there.
go to Howley's.
I know, but it's where I
It's
live,
still
so I don't go.
awesome.
I know, but I don't go over there
It's
because
still
it's where
amazing.
it is. It is amazing.
Although Bob Vila hasn't been part of that show for
A long time.
Howley's is where me and the family went right after me and the wifey said I do.
Oh, really?
You're like, what do you want to
Yeah.
eat? We want Howley's.
nice.
I used
I've
to
never
like the
been.
patty
Oh,
melt
so
there. I
good.
used to like the patty melts there. I used to eat the patty melts there all the time.
It's kind of, would you like in the menu to maybe like a cheesecake factory in a way where there's like
so
kind of
many.
everything that you can think of is on their menu.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of now that you're talking about it, one of my favorite lunches over there. I used to just have a turkey dinner, like
so
a
good.
Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah.
lunch anytime I wanted
The
it over
fried
there.
chicken's boss too.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't tried the fried chicken.
Oh,
Only
famous
the
fried chicken.
regular roasted chicken or whatever they call turkey.
Shout out to Howley.
Yes. Somebody has a question here. Paul's asking a question. Why does Mike look like every year he asks Santa for a pair of you know what? I don't know. Somebody's giving you some junk on the internet, so never mind. Do you know Paul P? Anyway, he's making fun of you. You don't know who that is?
I don't.
Oh, that is so funny. Maybe we have a new guy. Remember the guy that used to rag on Rob all the time?
Oh, I do. Yeah, it was a friend of mine.
Yeah,
actually,
I know. And you would never tell us who Johnny's like the vault man, right? He would never tell us who this guy was. But there was a guy who would call up every week, and he would call up and he would act like he had a real question. And then he would say, Rob has a big, you know what?
He'd lean in
and
into Rob's pants.
Yeah, and then he would hang up, right? And then he would hang up, and the whole thing was just to say, it was a hit and run. All he wanted to say,
I see it. This last one says, I think Mike goes to the bar and orders a glass of warm milk. I've never done that, sir.
That's hilarious.
He's got me all
Paul
wrong.
Peters.
He's got you pegged.
So funny. So with Rob,
Is
the
that
guy,
100 proof warm milk?
I guess maybe like a White Russian or something. Does that count?
Oh, I hate
Yeah.
alcohol
Yeah.
and milk. I do not like alcohol and milk together. It grosses me out.
I'm
But-
trying to. Can I real quick? I'm so sorry. You mentioned a White Russian. I don't know about you, but do you have like an instant connection for a White Russian?
Yeah, of course.
What is
Dude.
The dude.
The
right?
dude, of course.
The dude, right?
Yeah.
So my wife she doesn't read People magazines, but my mom has one, and she's just like flipping through it. And they have these like little quotes, little Hollywood quote things.
Yeah.
So Bridges is a grandfather, and he tried to get his grandkids to call him Dude Pop, I think it is. I'm trying to remember exactly, but they landed on a very dudeness grandpa name. It was so like it gave us both chills. We were like, that is the best news we've heard in like a year. Like he's tied the dude into his grandpa name.
It's
for his
iconic.
grandkids.
I mean, he's got a couple of iconic characters, right? But the dude is probably
The
number
dude,
one.
yeah.
The dude,
There's also the Starman.
true.
What else for him? Maybe
But that's a
probably the two that
right?
you would connect.
You can picture him in the silver training.
Listen,
outfit,
Big
right?
Lebowski is my favorite comedy movie of all time.
It's funny because when it came out, all my friends told me I had to watch that movie because they said I was the dude, right? Back then.
You were the dude.
Yeah, everybody, all my friends
You rock a
decided
robe
they
all
wrote
the
a story about Jim, right?
Jim's
That's
a
what they
bum.
were saying.
Driving around his car.
Yeah, and
all
I
the
was
time.
the dude, and they used to, and I didn't watch the movie till like 10 years after it came out.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm the dude. I might have been the dude when I was in college and a little bit past college.
Yeah.
I don't know about like old, because he was older in that movie. He wasn't a college kid or something. He was probably in his 40s or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that
So
sounds right.
It was kind of funny. But
Sorry for that. That's
that's
way
okay,
off board.
yeah.
But when I hear
Yeah.
White Russian, I'm like instant to the dude.
That's the first thing I thought of too.
Yeah,
when
and
I said it.
how
Yeah.
amazing that though. Like his grandkids, like
Right.
kind of refer to him as the dude.
Right. The dude abides.
I love it. So
but getting it back to the guy with Rob, I just want to finish that. So the
Yeah,
guy would
let's
call
get to
up and
Rob's
do the
fans.
bombs all the time. And then Rob started getting angry and angry. Do you remember?
Sure.
And at one point, the guy called up on the show and he said what he said and he hung up. And Rob got really upset. And he was like, do I have to hire a private investigator? I feel like this person's stalking me. And I remember saying to him off air, I was like, at least he's telling everybody that you have a big one.
Yeah, really.
He can say it the other way. He didn't get any. He didn't get any jokes out of that. He didn't get any laughs out of that one. So
No,
maybe Mike will take it better than
we all enjoyed it much more than he did.
He should have just leaned into it. That's what he
Yes,
should have done.
totally.
He should have just leaned into
It's
it.
radio. It's fun. It's joking around.
That's it. I'm going to clean up the Jeff Bridges dudeness. So he wanted them to call him Dude Pa, and they shortened. They settled on Duty.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. He wanted Dude Pa.
Duty.
They settled with Duty.
Duty.
I love it. It's so good.
I kind of like Dude Pa.
Dude Pa's pretty good.
Jay just came in for a couple of seconds. Jay is a success story. We just got his mom a new home about 2 months ago. Jay's working on the house right now. He's invited me to the housewarming party on November 9th. Yes, I will be there for sure, Jay. Thank you so much. And thank you for trusting us to help your mom find her new home up in Martin County. So we're really happy about that. I think it was Martin County. Maybe it was in Port St. Lucie. It was so long ago. I don't remember. That was like so many months ago.
Right there.
I feel so bad. I feel like it was Martin County.
I could check.
Yeah. Well, did Marcy use a loan for that? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So
by the way, I was jumping into the Mike Rauch magical app again the other day because I'm starting to get a couple of homes that
you're seeing.
Well, I have very particular settings for my drip, right? My drip campaign that we have set for some time. We have very particular needs for our.
I thought you were talking about your outfit for a second.
Look at your drip.
I was thinking about something else, but that's another story.
Certain settings for my drip.
Super trendy. But yeah, we've seen a couple in the last couple of weeks that are kind of somewhat matching our parameters, but it's fun to punch them into the app and kind of see where it settles in. Is such a precise tool. It's a valuable thing to have in your pocket.
I wore those buttons out.
Yeah,
when
we're talking about Mike's app that you kind of get with Mike. He set some parameters and specifics for your snowflake of a situation, and then you can punch in certain numbers like the asking price of a home, see how things kind of settle in for you as far as monthly obligation, closing costs, etc. Yeah. It's really cool to see it come together, but I'm excited to see some more options and our parameters slowly starting to come together.
It's not just a mortgage calculator; it's even more so than it's specifically designed for your needs, and that's the best part about it.
I've got a quick catchy phrase for it. It's a pre-approval. It's a pre-approval.
Doesn't sound.
Yeah, hold on. I got to think about it.
Got it.
It's a payment calculator / closing cost estimator / pre-approval letter generator.
Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
There's got to be some acronym. What is it?
No, it's a payment calculator.
Payment calculator.
Closing cost estimator. Pre-approval letter generator. For you and your agent.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things I love about the pre-approval letter with Mike with that app.
Pegging.
That's
what I came up with.
The pre-approval for that app is awesome because let's say that you're on a tight deadline and you got to write up the offer and you need a proof of funds or a pre-qualification letter, and it is 7:00 at night on Saturday, right? And usually your mortgage person isn't going to be around. Mike has usually always been pretty good about that, but now we don't even have to do it. We got
sometimes
the app.
I'm drinking milk at the bar.
Yeah, you're drinking at the bar.
Warmer the better.
And you type in the information, and if it's approved, you don't have to ask Mike because the app is the app, and it's all plugged in with that person's information. If you got the approval on the payment and the closing costs needed, you just print up the letter, and it's good. And the other thing,
it literally prompts you red, like, nope, this doesn't work. If it doesn't fit the numbers, and as soon as the numbers fit, it's all, go ahead, you're good.
Right.
Yeah.
So you might have to drop the purchase price or maybe offer seller concessions and then get the number to where you need it.
Yep.
And then you turn in the letter. It's a really powerful thing. And the other thing I love about that, when I'm the listing agent, I always laugh when the buyer's agent turns in an offer, and I'm making up numbers here, but they're approved for $750,000. You have the house on the market for $550, right? And then they turn in an offer of $500, but they're approved for $750,000, right?
With a letter dated, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing is that with a letter like that, what do you think most sellers are going to do with a letter like that? They're going to counter you usually and counter you up because they know you could afford it. Right. So really a good technique for buyer's agent and for buyers is every time you're turning an offer, you get an approval with the number that you're turning in, not what you can afford, because if you could afford more, okay, you don't want the seller to know that necessarily. You just want to know that you're qualified for the offer that you're turning in. So that's one of the other things I love about Mike's app. Let's go ahead and take a break now, guys. And on the flip side, what we're going to talk about right away with Mike is 3 ways to save huge money when buying a home in Florida. And we're going to talk about 3 great government programs to pay for down payment assistance for customers. Right, Mike?
That's right.
Okay, we're going to go on the flip side.
Excellent. We always want you to know that Florida Talk Real Estate is at .com, your one-stop real estate shop. You have access to the entire team. Pros, you get them all at floridatalkrealestate.com. Find them on Facebook and YouTube as well. But know it, use it, love it, share it. floridatalkrealestate.com. There's even a hotline. You'll find it at floridatalkrealestate.com. 888-973-7828. If you prefer to pick up the phone, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, answered by a live body, 888-973-7828. Again, you'll find that hotline at floridatalkrealestate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Thank you for being a part of the tribe. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
The bad news, the brain isn't all that great at hearing stuff and remembering it. The good news, you can watch us too. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Real Radio 92.1. Here's the latest with weather on Real Radio.
From the Gordon & Partners Weather Center, have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. We are expecting some morning showers today as a weak front passes through the area. High temperatures will be a few degrees lower than yesterday in the low 80s. We also will have breezy conditions in the afternoon behind that frontal boundary moving through the area. Skies will clear in the afternoon today.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Time with family, laughs with friends, and cash back. Discover's got you covered on the last one. That's because Discover doubles all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with cash back match. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
That's it, 877-927-6969. Toll free if you'd like to be a part of the program. You got a question, comment, concern in the world of real estate? If you'd like to get involved in the conversation at hand, or maybe you just want to do a hit and run, old school style, you're welcome to join us. We are live on this October 26th, Saturday. Last day of Fright Nights in South Florida here, by the way. Fairgrounds. It was awesome. Took the family the other night. It was awesome. We got a gem right in our backyard. If you haven't been, you should check it out. Or you can, spend more money and make the drive to Orlando. It's probably a little bit more awesome. But it's pretty awesome right in our backyard. Johnny C, that's me. Jimothy's our producer extraordinaire. What's up, my dude?
Hello and good morning.
Good morning. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com. It's your one-stop real estate shop. Access to the entire team. These are pros, experts in their field. Like Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Did you do Fright Nights?
I didn't. My son did. He went with some buddies.
You have fun?
Yeah, he said it was awesome.
It was awesome.
And then we were talking about Orlando, and if you wanted to spend even more money, you could take Brightline to get there and back.
You can kiss my behind. That's insanity. The price they want for that is wild.
Round trip.
Even down to Miami's, like, they're priced everybody out at this point now.
What were the prices? I have no idea.
Stupid. I'm not getting a second mortgage on my house to take my right.
I don't know. Should I say what I say? Yeah, it was like round trip. It was like, I don't know, 160-ish.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
160, 170.
Low end.
Low end.
Per
yeah,
person.
that's not
Per
the
person?
Yeah,
round trip.
And by the way,
Orlando
they're going to tell you got to get
That's
back on
crazy
this
town.
train by this time or you're not making it back.
You could rent a car for the day and save money.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For one day?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Johnny.
It's been a minute since I've tried to rent a car.
But what I meant by that is, like, if you, let's say, had 2 people or 3 people using the train, the car would be cheaper.
Oh, yeah.
160 times 3 is $480.
Don't you still have to be
That's
25 to rent a car?
Probably, I think you do, yeah.
Was that on one of the amendments that we're voting for? No. But, yeah, there's a lot more efficient and cheaper ways. But if you want to go in style, Johnny, you want to get there in a good,
style. There's some style.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like style to me. Okay, so you have a nice trip up there or back because I hear you have food and drinks and stuff. But then you got to get from the station to wherever you got to go, which means Ubers or whatever. It's like it turns into this whole thing.
Yeah. So
to me, it's not fun.
I will tell you, if the price was right, it drops you right like just 2 blocks from where the Heaters play, right? Miami Arena, whatever it's called now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're 2 blocks. Now you're going to step over homeless people, on the sidewalk.
Right.
But it's 2 blocks. I took my little girl down for her first 21 pilot show. We rode the Brightline down there.
Mm-hmm.
It was a cool experience, but it's like $40 a head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little more palatable.
Right.
We did the Polar Express on the Brightline one winter a couple of years ago too. That was really cool. But
prices have gone up since then.
A lot.
Or Orlando's
and Tri-Rail is not gone up, right? Like their prices to get down to Miami. Like sometimes I take the train down to the airports, either Lauderdale or Miami, and it's easy, right?
It
It's
is.
easy and it's pretty cost effective.
Yep.
Versus having somebody drop me off or deal with the traffic.
Chartwell still stayed pretty relative. Well, I guess they dubbed that more public transportation, where I think Brightline tries to dub themselves as more
travel,
right?
Yeah, tourist, Steve.
Tourist.
It's always interesting. I find like it's the same thing with like tickets to, football, baseball. I was like, if they just sold everything really cheap, they would fill it up.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm sure they're counting their beans, right? They've got something.
Yeah, they're filling it up with maxing it out. Did you see an empty seat at the World Series last night, Game 1?
No, I didn't watch it though.
Well, I will tell you,
terrible baseball.
There was not an empty seat.
Yeah, no.
And if you saw the ask price on those tickets,
oh yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
Economic times are tough out there.
I'm thinking more like middle of the season Marlins. Right.
Yeah, well, now I'm on page. I'm totally on board. We got our fearless leader over here. You can find him at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com as well. That's Jimmy D. Jim DePola runs a top producing Keller Williams team. You find the Florida Home Pros team at Keller Williams Innovations. Jimmy D, how you been?
Hey, I'm doing great. Happy South Florida. I got to tell you, the skies on the way down here today were beautiful. The clouds and the sun and everything was awesome coming down here today.
Last night when the sun was going down, my gosh, was it beautiful.
My unit, because I'm in a condo, they
on
are doing they're doing concrete restoration in my unit, my specific unit. So they took out my sliding glass doors and they put in plywood walls in front of the sliding glass doors. So I have no light in my house anymore.
How far do they have to come in?
About 3 feet.
About 3 feet
3 feet in, yeah.
On your restoration. So they're restoring your patio decks, your decks,
well,
right?
they did the patio deck on the outside, but now because the rebar is still weak, they have to go into the unit.
So they've chipped up whatever tile floor you have that many feet in. Yeah.
Not the full 3 feet, but there are patches in there, and it's very inconvenient, but there's no light in my house. And I love looking at the ocean and everything in the sky, and that's all gone right now.
They don't have no clear plywood, huh?
No, I wish, right? I wish they did
aluminum.
that. Yeah, exactly.
So, there's a movie to have that.
Yeah. Do you know what it is?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What movie? Transparent aluminum?
Yeah.
You don't remember that?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Star Trek.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Think Star Trek.
Not a super
the one
big
with
Star
the
Trek
whale.
fan.
Yeah,
I never
they go
saw
back
that
to
one.
get the whale.
Yeah.
I don't remember that
I
one.
never
I
saw
remember
that
the
one.
whale, kind of remember the whale thing, the concept, but I don't remember the transparent aluminum.
Scotty talks into a mouse. Computer?
Yeah.
Gives him the formula for transparent aluminum.
Number 4, maybe. Something like that.
Well,
But,
let's get into
save the whales.
Let's get into some real estate. Let's get into some real estate, guys, and let's give some good information to people that are thinking about buying a home. We've been talking about for a long time, and we're going to get into this a little bit later in the show about why it's a really great time to buy right now. I know that is against the conventional wisdom, if you will, but it is a really good time to buy, and we're going to go into reasons why it's a good time to buy a little bit later.
Well, there are different reasons why it would be a good time to buy, right? Sometimes it's a great time to buy because the market has bottomed out and it doesn't get any better. Sometimes it's you have a lot of and everything in between. So you're going to touch on reasons why it's good, but there's a plethora of reasons why it can be a good time to buy.
Absolutely. And one of those reasons, just one, is using government down payment assistance programs to help you buy your home for affordability. With the number one reason that we're having a little bit of a problem in real estate right now is basically affordability. We could say that it's the insurance is too high, or the taxes are too high, or the prices are too high, or the interest rates are too high.
Or all of them come together.
Is affordability, right? So one of the ways to help you deal with affordability problems is the government down payment programs. And Mike is an expert at using these programs. We've used them all the time for our buyers. So Mike, I was going to ask you, what are the 3 best government down payment assistance programs you think that are out there right now?
I think so. Okay, 1, 2, 3. First one available like all the time, right? There's no restriction. That doesn't run out of money. It's run by Florida Housing, which is a state organization. It's called the Florida Bond Program, and that's a $10,000 what we call a silent second which is it stays, you borrow the money, it stays attached to the home. It's repayable under certain conditions, but there's no payment, zero interest, right? It's not like accumulating interest. So it's $10,000 that you can use towards your down payment and or closing costs.
Sounds like what I used.
Yeah, exactly what you used.
That was
John.
the
Sounds
program.
like what I
exactly.
used.
And it's been around, and it's going to stick around, right? This isn't one that's going away.
Wonderful program.
The second one, which is also through Florida Housing, which is a little bit better than the bond, is called Hometown Heroes. Like everybody has heard that, Hometown Heroes. It's a little bit better because instead of being a flat 10,000, it is up to 5% of the loan amount, right? So if you're borrowing $300,000, you can get $15,000 in down payment assistance. Same rules. And then, of course, there's guidelines for which program you qualify for. And then a third one, which doesn't get a lot of traction, but it's really, really good under certain circumstances, is the SHIP program. So State Housing Initiative partnership. And that one's really good because you can get up to, listen to this, folks, up to $100,000 of down payment assistance.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And that one is very limited funds. So it runs out very quickly. So you kind of have to get your ducks in a row early. And all of them have criteria for qualifying. So you really just need to talk to a professional who knows the rules and knows the guidelines and know which program is going to make the most sense for you. But those are three really good ones, Jim. And
have you ever seen anybody get 100,000?
I did one. I did one earlier this year. They got 75,000, and that's because you're limited to basically 50% of the loan amount, right? So they were buying a $150,000, not 50% of the loan amount, but 50%. But you get what I'm saying. Like you can get up to 100, but you can't exceed the loan amount you're borrowing. So they're buying a condo that was 150,000, so they got 75,000.
Okay.
But if they had a 200,000
Then they
purchase,
coulda
they
got
qualified, then they could have got the full max of the 100,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So so these programs are very, very powerful.
Is that hard to qualify? Is that like, do they make that impossible?
It's not hard to qualify, but you have to be first in line.
You really got to be prompt in your response to it.
It's like you want to go to a concert and get into the floor or the pit.
Get them with the pre-sale.
Better get up quick, right?
So, and I'm sorry if I'm interrupting
this
train of thought here. So the Florida Hometown Heroes is an evergreen program. I've heard you use that word a lot.
Yep.
So the funds, as they get repaid, go back into the kitty, and then every year it kind of gets replenished.
It gets new funding. So what they did essentially, and the evergreen is written into the law, but the amount isn't written in. So what they've done is they did $100 million the first year of that program,
which was last year or 2 years ago.
I think 3 years ago.
No, it was 2023.
Oh, okay.
So this is the second year.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a fiscal, summer to summer thing. So I think it's July to the end of June. The first year they did 100,000. That ran out by the end of the year, and then they refunded it with another 30 million. So far this year it's 100,000. The money was gone very quickly.
100 million.
100 million. 100,000. 100 million. But that 100 million was gone relatively quickly within 2.5 months.
Sure. There was a lot of people in the hopper, as they say, lined up waiting for that to be replenished.
Yeah, right? We talked about it a lot. And so there were a lot that were like, okay, as soon as these funds become available, that's the program. Now, the good thing, if you were working with someone like me, is I could have had you, it's almost like, hey, we're going to do the 10,000, 100%. But if the stars align on the timing and the funding's available, we can switch to Hometown Heroes if it makes sense.
And then when it comes to the ship, that gets, is that an annual?
Yeah. Also funded annually.
Okay.
And it's county specific, right? So you have Palm Beach County ship, they'll have Broward County, the various counties, and they get a certain amount of money, and you just essentially, they'll take I don't know, the first 50 applicants in a year. Right.
Okay.
So you just have to know when they're opening the door.
Yep.
And you better have all your documentation lined up. And this is applying for a mortgage, but probably triple the documentation that we require for whatever.
When they get to your application, if it's not done right, they're going to just be here you go. If you fix that, and they move on to the next one.
It depends on what you're missing, but you just want to have it complete.
Yeah. And the last one you did, Mike, the couple tried to get into it last year, and they just missed out, and then they ended up coming in this year, right?
They I think they missed one opportunity. They said they were on a waiting game for the next round.
So they had to wait a whole year, right? But they were prepared for
I wasn't involved in the first one. The second one,
Oh,
I
you
was
weren't.
I
I
was
thought-
involved in
Okay.
like the prep work for it.
Mhm, mhm.
And like just making sure they're there. And then it's like, no, you have to be like, when they open the door, you need to, and they do it online. So it's like, okay, 6 a.m. on this day, hit the link to get started type of thing.
So let me ask you a couple questions about all 3 programs.
And
okay?
they were on the ball, Jim, that success story. They were on the ball and they were accepting 50 to 50. They came out, they were number 40 something. And they were like
wow.
there, at the time hitting the button. Right. So,
Wow. Okay.
right, go ahead.
So let me ask you about this thing. Are there any special qualifications you need for any of these programs? Like with the Hometown Heroes and the Florida Bond Program, as long as you can qualify for the loan itself, then you pretty much are qualified for the program.
Pretty much. They have a couple slight differences. So there's like credit score. There's a minimum credit score of 640.
Mhm.
Whereas with other like FHA conventional, you can go below 640 and still qualify. So you have a minimum credit score. It's a little bit stricter.
Mhm.
And there are income limits that you have to think about. And depending on the program, it's either your income or like the income on the application, but sometimes it's also household income. So even if you're applying on your own, but your spouse or your partner, whatever it is not on the loan application, but they're in the house, you have to count their income as well to make sure you're under the household income limit. So there's income limitations and there's some credit restrictions that are a little bit more strict, and also debt to income.
And these all 3 are for first-time home buyers or a homeowner that hasn't owned a home within X amount of years. Is that how that works?
So they call it first time home buyer, but the strict definition is you haven't owned a primary residence in the last 3 years.
3 years for primary residence.
So you could have a rental property that is not homesteaded and you can qualify for this program?
That's right.
Wow.
You could also,
I didn't even know
like,
that.
probably the more common scenario, Jim, is that let's say you're still on title to like a family home or maybe a former marital home, something like that. So a lot of times people, they divorce, but they can't like untie themselves from the loan or maybe from the title of the home or whatever. They've got it structured that way. So that's kind of where that primary goes in. So if I've moved out of my marital home, 3 years ago, I'm still entitled to it, but I haven't lived there as my primary. So I would be eligible as a first-time home buyer.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I learned something here myself, and we use these programs all the time. Another question that I had is when you get the money, right? When the money is given to you to pay for down payment or is it for down payment or is it down payment, closing costs, and prepaids?
Yeah, it's for any of those.
Okay, so
any of the buyer side
costs,
cash requirements.
Okay, so my other question is, if you're using one of these programs, can you ask the seller to give you discounts to like buy down the interest rate or something like that, or to pay extra money to you at closing to help
you can
make it affordable? You're allowed to do that still?
You can still do that. The restriction would be that you can't get money back at closing. So let's say you're getting $10,000 down payment assistance. You work it out with the seller that you've got this big credit or whatever it is. You can't get negative 10,000 at closing, right? You can't get it coming back, or even negative 5,000, right? They're going to force it to do like what they would call a principal reduction. So instead of giving cash back to you, you just borrow a little bit less, right? So you try and structure it so you're not leaving any money on the table, Jim. And sometimes this gets tricky, right? When you have seller credits, and usually seller credits are coming because there's some deficiency in the house or
like
in the deal, or just something where it's like, hey, we need some money to fix these things. Can we get a credit from you versus say a price reduction? And so when you have down payment assistance and you have a nice healthy seller credit, sometimes there's too much money. So that's where like buying down an interest rate is really a good option, because you essentially increase your costs, but it's a good way to use the money and not leave anything on the table.
That's really good advice for people. And the other thing I was wondering is what kind of loans can you use for these programs?
So your conforming loan option, so conventional, FHA, VA, USDA.
USDA. Okay, great. And
we don't have a lot of USDA down here.
Right, there isn't. But Martin County, you can use it.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's a question. Why would the lender care about you using one of these programs, other than the fact that maybe you're more of a risk if you need it, but you should use this even if you don't need it, right? I mean, we're talking about money.
Yeah, I think the It's a good question, Johnny. So it's like, why wouldn't, if I'm eligible for this, why would I not
Why would
ever
you not
do
use it? Right.
And I think I agree with you, unless there's some sort of penalty on the interest rate. So the one thing about, you know what, you said buying down the interest rate. On these programs, you actually can't buy down the interest rate.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I was thinking like normal circumstances, how do you maximize seller credit? So on these programs, the rates are set essentially by the lender who's behind the scenes on, or the servicer who's on Florida Housing.
Competitively, though, right?
Yeah, they're very competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't always the case. Like Johnny, when you did yours, when you used down payment assistance, there was some sort of penalty kind of associated with, or the rate was never competitive. So in those early days, I didn't like them because like maybe your rate could be, let's go back a few years. Your rate could have been 4%, but if you use DPA, it was 4.5%, right? Just something like that.
Right.
And so I said,
I had the MI.
I said, if you don't need it, like don't take that penalty on the rate. But now with Florida Housing, especially with Hometown Heroes, those rates have been very competitive. I'll give you an example. Like right now, I was looking at it. So if you use the $10,000 bond program and you're doing FHA, the rate right now is 6%.
Ooh. Oh, that's lower than what you're going to get on the open market.
Which is lower than what you're going to get on the open market. Now, if you're conventional, their rate is 7 or 6.75, depending if you're doing Fannie or Freddie's program. So you just have to consider that. So I would say in general, all things being equal, why wouldn't you take the cash? The only drawback is you have to think about the repayable nature of the second.
Well, let's get into that. So let's say under the bond program, the Florida bond program, I get 10,000. But let's say that under the Florida Hometown Heroes, I have a $400,000 loan and I'm actually getting 20,000, right? 5% of the loan value, $20,000. Do I have to pay that money back? And am I paying interest on that? And is it accruing interest over time?
So there's no interest and there's no payment while you own the home and live in the home as your primary residence, right? So no matter what, it's never accruing interest, right? So it's an interest fee. We call it a silent second. So it stays attached to the home, but you kind of don't think about it. You don't have to make any payments, anything like that. But there are conditions under which that grant or that second is repayable. And essentially when the first loan is paid off, that's when the second is repayable.
Right.
So what are the conditions that your first loan gets paid off? Refi is probably the number one most common if you're staying in the home.
That's when I paid mine off.
And that's when you did. And Johnny and I were very cognizant of the $10,000 as part of the refinance analysis. And so I'll encourage anybody who's thinking refis, hey, rates are coming down, refi. If you did DPA, talk to me first. Okay. You got to make sure these numbers make sense.
Got to make sense.
Right. And we went and probably 3-4 times we're like, not yet. Doesn't make sense.
We waited and waited and waited and waited, and then it made sense and we pulled the trigger.
Yeah. And so refinance number one way that probably that down. Now that doesn't hurt you, right? It doesn't come out, you're not coming out of pocket, right? It's not like you're pulling it out of your bank account. You're just kind of eating into your equity position when you do that.
That's it.
Second way, when you sell the home, right? So it's just, $20K in your scenario, $20K of proceeds that you're not going to get. So just don't forget about it, right? It's there. Some ways that it might hurt you is if you.
Well, I think that there might be two other ways, Mike. So the first thing would be is if you refinance. Number 2, sell the home. Number 3, move out of the home.
So I was going to say, if you move out of the home, but retain it. So as an investment
like you
property.
keep it as a second home or a rental.
Once
you're supposed to be telling the bank, hey, I don't live here anymore. I got to give you your 10,000 back.
Yeah. And I think basically every year they have you kind of reaffirm that you're still living in the home as a primary. And if you're not, they're going to call that note due.
And then there's one other way that you would have to pay the money back if you paid off the loan.
So when the loan is paid off. And so that's like, you hit the lotto. You're going to pay off your mortgage, or maybe you're on one of those accelerated payment, type of programs.
And again, it's a second mortgage, so it's.
I like the idea of calling it the silent second mortgage because if you borrowed 10,000 or you borrowed 20,000, it isn't increasing over time.
No interest.
And then when you're done, even if it's 30 years later when you're paying off the loan, all you're giving them back is the 20 grand that you borrowed originally, or the 10 grand you borrowed originally.
They're letting you hold 10 grand until one day.
That kind of like that move out but retain it. is probably when people are considering selling their home, they might think about, hey, do we want to sell and, like grab our proceeds now? Or do we want to hold on, wait for the long haul, maybe make some rental income? And that's the one that if that note gets called due, it's basically due, right? You're not on some sort of payment to pay it off over time. Like you owe that money.
And then my last question on the down payment assistance program, and I think there's going to be a different answer for each program.
Okay.
But how hard is it to apply? Like, is it a pain in the butt where you're going through all this stuff in order to get the money? And it almost isn't worth it.
He gives all the information to him. He's got
not all the time. There's one program where he has
you as the buyer or the borrower don't have to do anything extra with the Florida housing, like the Florida bond, the hometown heroes. You have to do nothing extra except there's perhaps a homeownership course, like a new home buyer online course that you have to complete.
I had you with my
that.
Florida bond program.
A lot of people like that course. It sounds like, oh, I just got to get through it. But some people actually, they like it. They haven't bought a home before. It's educational. The SHIP program, you have to like do a lot of what I would do in a pre-approval as far as like documentation gathering, but it's a lot more than I would ever ask somebody up front because I'm just like, okay, let me verify your income, let me verify your cash position. Let me look at your credit. SHIP has a lot of documents it's like old school mortgage underwriting. So that can be a pain in the butt. You have to know the date and time and be there and like be able to navigate their process. So that one is like some extra work.
But you're getting a lot of money. You're getting a lot of money.
I was gonna say the one that's harder is the one that you can get the most for.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. Now,
so can I real quick?
Oh, okay.
Because I want to talk numbers here as we're talking numbers. Run through this again. You were doing a interest rate comparison between FHA and conventional at 6% versus like 7%.
Yeah.
Why in the world would anybody ever choose the conventional route? Because when you said it, I was like, how does that make any sense ever? Why would anybody ever not go FHA for a full % plus?
Right.
Difference?
That's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think you usually don't have that big of a gap, but when it comes to this particular program, this was the Florida bond rate. I would say that you would choose FHA under almost any circumstance. So FHA has mortgage insurance, but if you're doing this down payment assistance, you probably are also doing a low down payment in general. So your conventional loan will also have mortgage insurance.
Doing 20%, so I add my MI to the 6. I'm still not the 7.
That's
something.
Right. That's right.
What am I doing?
So here's the one reason you might do it. If you had to, for whatever reason, maybe condo, right? FHA and condo don't play nice typically.
Okay.
Maybe the seller, for whatever reason, just is not accepting FHA offers.
Oh, there are some really ignorant people out there.
It could be that you're within, FHA has a flip rule. So if you're within 90 days of the most recent deed transfer, so an investor bought the home, fixed it up, selling it 2 months later, you can't buy that with FHA. You got to wait till 90 days.
90 days?
Yeah.
91, actually.
Yeah, which is, Johnny, like in this market, okay.
Yeah,
three
you're
months
going
on
to
the
be
market
anyway.
Not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But
you have no choice. You're going to wait.
This is one of those where if you're a loan originator or you're a real estate agent and you see this brand new, flipped home come on the market and you're trying to buy FHA or maybe even have it listed FHA and you're not within, or you're within that 90 days, you're going to have a lesson to be learned there, right? Because it's also not the close date; it's the contract date. You can't even have a signed contract until that 91st.
Right, that's why I'm saying the 91st day.
Yeah.
You can't even write the contract till the 91st day, or they reject it.
So there's a couple of like reasons, but they're not ones that.
Yeah, so I would certainly encourage anybody who's doing this. So we're low down payment already. We're looking at down payment assistance. I would say let's go FHA. Look at the rate difference. It's a full point.
A full point.
Yep.
Even if you're 30% down,
I
it's
agree.
A full point.
Yeah, and that's why you got to go to somebody like Mike to go over all the nuances of all these different programs and different decisions you have to make in each program.
Because regardless, you can't buy the rate down as you taught us earlier. So you're going to be stuck there.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
And so, when I do a pre-approval, Jim, if I could just I have 3, when I'm explaining a pre-approval, I say there's 3 primary questions we're trying to answer. Number 1, do you qualify from a credit perspective? So we're looking at credit scores, credit history. Number 2, what payment do you qualify for, right? When you're qualifying for a mortgage, you're actually qualifying for a monthly payment based on a debt to income ratio, right? You have a limit there. The third one, and this gets into what we're talking about right now, what type of loan are you doing? right? So you would think, oh, FHA conventional, right? I'll ask you, are you a military veteran? That's an easy one to eliminate, or almost, a surefire. Yeah, we're doing VA. But it's not just that. It's also, hey, are we doing down payment assistance? Okay, which down payment assistance program is going to work best for you? Are there reasons that we would favor one over the other? And it's not just about rate. So condo, are you purchasing a condo? So are you doing a manufactured home, right? Geographically, is USDA an option for you? So I'm just considering all of that stuff when I'm asking that, what type of loan are we doing? Right. And sometimes it's an easy one. And sometimes it's like, hey, you got options. Let's try it this way. If we can't make it work this way for whatever reason, we have a backup plan.
Right.
Yeah. We're trying to deal with this guy, Daniel, right now, who had called off of one of my properties that's not on the market yet, because I'm waiting for the seller to take care of everything. And it's got a detached building, and they're using it as a metal machinist shop. And so there's a lot of really expensive metal lathes and things like that in there, with a lot of raw metal materials. Well, this guy owns a metal fabrication company, and he is a first-time home buyer, and he was thinking this might be good because he already owns a business that's in that field. So we got him over to Mike, and Mike has reached out to a couple of times, and he hasn't responded yet because he's a first-time home buyer. He doesn't understand the process and what you have to do step by step by step. So I told him, hey, we have a couple of people off market now that are interested in that property. If you're interested in it too, you got to get to Mike and get your answers done, because I can't work with you to compete with these other people unless you have a pre-qualification. And he sent me a message back saying, I'm not sure that property exactly meets my needs. And then that was his answer. And he's making a huge mistake because he's not picking up the phone and talking to me. He doesn't understand what's going on with the interest rates right now. He doesn't understand why it's a really good time to buy, and he might be missing out. And by the time he wakes up, it might be way worse for him, right?
He may be one of those that just don't ever get there, though.
Well, I'm hoping it isn't like that. But the thing is that he's not really doing it the right way. And sometimes you just want to shake people and say, look, you're not doing it the right way. You got to do it. We're not doing it to be a pain in your butt. We're doing it so that you have a success story at the end, and we got your back.
That's it.
But, there's a lot of people out there that don't really understand the process, and it really hurts them. I want to go ahead and that was great on down payment assistance. So if you guys have any questions to that, saying, I really want to buy a house, I can afford a mortgage payment, I know I can, but what I don't have is all the money I need for the down payment and closing costs, you got to call us and find out if we can find out programs that will boost your availability to do that. And then combine that with maybe seller concessions to get the job done for you. You'd be surprised at what we can accomplish.
Well, I know so many people are sheepish to allow anybody, even like Mike, a professional, to kind of look behind the curtain and see their financials. That I think there's a hesitation for so many people because they view it like, oh man, my credit's not great, and he's going to judge me. No, it's about getting you positioned so you can do what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And I think it adds to it for a lot of folks where they're like, well, I don't ask them for, money that I'm going to need. It's like, no, this is all part of the process. And you need to set all of those hangups down, because this is how it's done. All of us. And again, even with these down payment assistance programs, even if you don't need it, you should inquire about it. Would you rather save $10,000 cash that you have and use someone else's $10K? I would. But those hangups are ridiculous, and really, I'm not trying to shame anybody, but I will shame the hell out of you. Pick up the phone, find out where you're at, get your numbers, know what's real, what. Don't fill in the blanks on your own unless you are highly educated in the field. Okay, if you're not, pick up the phone. Go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. If you don't trust in this team, why are you listening and watching? A, and B, find one you do. There's other great professionals out there. It doesn't have to be Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. I would tell you to go there. That's why I'm sitting here. But find somebody you trust that knows what they do. That is great at what they do. Not good, great at what they do. That's why I'm trying to send you to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. This is a team of pros. They're great at what they do. I've worked with them for a long time. We're going to do it again soon. Sell my home, buy a new home. Why? Because, well, it's time for my family to do that. If it's time for your family to do that, go to floridatalkrealestate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. We got a 4-minute break. We're back at it with a ton of more information, including, are we buying, selling? What market are we looking at?
That'll be up next. Yep.
Beautiful. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
The visual aid you need for all the freaky stuff we talk about on the radio. Find it at realradio921.com. Here's the latest with weather on Real Radio.
From the Gordon Partners Weather Center. Have you been injured in a motor vehicle accident? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
This report is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan Injury Law Firm.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation, because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Listen on your free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
877-927-6969. That is toll free. Welcome on into the program if you're dialing it up. Questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, that and so much more. You're welcome to join us. Great to have you with us. 92.1, 101.7. Free download iHeartRadio app if you're listening. That makes potential worldwide. You could be a lot of different places right now. Even live streaming on a Saturday. Today's October 26th. We are live on this Saturday. You can join us on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate. It's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC on YouTube as well, home of a ton of informational chunk videos, plus our live stream on a Saturday. Great to have you with us. Johnny C, that's me. Timothy's our producer extraordinaire. What up?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. What are you going to be for Halloween?
I have a chicken head.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you have that? He's like, I have
It's
it.
my costume.
I have a chicken head. It's like, what does that mean?
Criticizing my costume?
No, I
I'm a
want to make
chicken
sure
head.
it's part of your Halloween color,
He's a
not
chicken
other,
hawk,
not
hot
otherwise
chicken.
used.
Yeah.
Where did you get it from? Like Publix at the butcher? Hey, I need a chicken head.
It's just, it could be weird. Like Jim has this weird collection of rubber chickens, and I never understood why. But
No,
Right.
I'll show
actually,
you
I
later.
think Tiffany does, right?
no,
Oh no, rubber ducks.
no.
Doesn't she have them on her Jeep in the thing, like with all
Oh,
the
there's
rubber
one.
ducky
No,
things?
but she doesn't have like
she doesn't have a
you
row
know the
of them.
whole Jeep thing of getting ducked. Have you heard of that?
I have.
Like they'll give you
I've
the rubber
seen
ducks, and I see
the
Jeeps
ducks
that have them
everywhere.
all lined
Yeah.
up.
All
She got one.
Oh, she's only got one.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people just leave them on your windshield or something, right?
yeah.
That's
Mhm.
right. Well,
I've seen them where they're just loaded with
Yeah,
them. I mean,
like the whole
loaded
dashboard
with
is
them.
full of them. Yeah.
So if you were a Jeep
That's
enthusiast
not a
and you
Colt.
saw that, you'd be like, I'm going to give him another one, or you'd be like, you got too many.
I'd be
you're-
like, this is
you're
the damn
overdoing
Colt. You guys are a Colt.
it. Well, you don't have a Jeep, otherwise
No,
you wouldn't understand.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kia people don't do that.
No,
We point and laugh at each other.
Right.
Yeah. While we're making our
You
next
suck
low
like
payment.
me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. I'm gonna ride that Kia until the wheels fall off. By the
Damn
way,
right.
it'll be a long time before
Just
the wheels
that's
fall
my
off.
style, man.
Mm.
That's how I roll.
Hey, beautiful. Johnny C, that's me. Timothy's he. Oh, there's Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm.
That's right.
What are you going to be for Halloween?
Probably nothing. I haven't done Halloween
Boo!
stuff. We don't get trick or treaters. I mean,
You criticize my chicken head?
no, I
Cluck you.
I just wanted to make sure it was part of Halloween.
You're a clucker.
Yeah. Tiffany like goes all out. She decorates for Halloween and everything, but we don't get trick or treaters and we don't do anything. We don't like go out to Halloween parties anymore. So
Is it already in place?
the decorations, yeah, she's had it up
thank
all
goodness.
month.
The way you said it, I thought it was coming. I was like, man, it is bad.
No, no, no.
Yeah,
Hurry
it's
up,
too
man.
late.
We got like spiders on the windows.
good.
We got bats. We got pumpkins outside, and she like does it. Like she's a
Nice.
decorator.
Hell yeah.
And she's like so excited to like switch into Christmas decorating.
It's our favorite
is
time of the
happening
year,
soon.
and
Yeah.
we as well. We get excited
Yeah.
for the Christmas,
But we don't get trick or treaters at all.
Huh.
So it's just for her mainly.
Well, it's and for you.
Well,
What do you
yeah.
mean for her. You don't get anything out of it.
If she could care less what I get out of it.
Huh.
Yeah. She does it. She loves it, right? She loves it.
Yeah, it's not for you.
It's you know
Sounds
what?
familiar.
I do. I enjoy it. Sure.
Yeah,
I like it.
totally do. What are you going to be for Halloween, Jim DePola? Jimmy
I
D?
know for sure absolutely nothing. I haven't really done any Halloween stuff in a while. And I'm not planning this year. I almost thought maybe I should do something. And I'm like, nah.
You like,
You
you know
should
what I'm
be
going to be
going
for
out
I've
Halloween?
never really been a big Halloween person anyway.
I'm
But
going
that's-
to be busy
Yeah.
showing homes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. With this scary market out here. So
Super
we're gonna transition that way. Okay.
Sweet.
So the September report for the Florida Association of Realtors came out. And my big question has been for the last several months, are we in a buyer's market or a seller's market? So let's take a look at the stats and see what we're finding out and see how we're holding up. So hold on here. Let me just get to, sorry, bear here. 1 second.
Florida Talk Real Estate.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny.
Your one-stop real estate shop, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Okay. So what we've got is we've got the monthly market report. Now, here's a couple of things that we're going to take a look at to determine whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market. Here's one of the things that always drives me crazy about the local media and the national media when they go over the stats. So let's just pick Palm Beach County single family homes for September 2024. What they're showing for the median sales price for this month, September 2024, is $615,000. Now, what they're saying is that in September 2023, 1 year ago, last month, we were at 600,000. So therefore, we have a 2.5% increase of the median sales price from last September to this September.
Palm Beach County.
Sounds pretty good, right? So we're up 2.5%. So a lot of sellers will say, oh, we're still in a strong market, prices are increasing, blah, blah, blah. But
median.
Yeah, and the reason, but even with the median numbers, they're still saying from a year ago we're in much better shape, 2.5% better shape than September of last year. However, that isn't really the picture that a seller or a buyer would need. That is not the information you should be looking at to determine whether it's a good time to buy or sell right now.
Yeah, because is that all they really share? When I see the comparative year for year, especially local media, like that's the number they focus on.
That's all they do.
It's not like, hey, days on market was only this time last year, and this time it's 3 times. They don't get into the minutia, the stuff that really matters. It's just the eye candy. Ooh, this is what the median sales price was.
Yep. And if you were to look at the stats from this year, let's take a look at the year stats, meaning starting from January and going up until today. So in January 2024, we were at 615,000, which is exactly where we are right now in September. Then in February, we remained at 615,000 for median sales price for a single family home. Then in March, it went up to 640. Then in April, it went up to 650. Then in May, we dropped down a little bit to 645. June, we got all the way up to 659,999. So I'm going to call that 660.
660.
So it's 660. We got up to in June. And then after June, the peak of 660, we went down to 644. Then in August, that was July, was 644. August, 617. September, 615. So if you think about this, from the peak of June of 660, we're really down $45,000 for the median sales price compared to
what you could have got at the highest moment of the year.
Highest moment just a few months ago.
Yeah, medians. So, but I don't want anybody listening thinking that, from 6 months or not even 4 months ago, your house is worth $45,000 less. I mean, that's not a direct tie. It's not a
well, but when you're talking about median values over what happened this year, we're down 6.8% from the high of this year.
Median values. Well,
but
values or sales prices?
The median sales price is down 6.8 from the high of this year. The highest median sales price was 660. We're now at 615.
But I would say majority of these closed sales, the homes are appraising for more than what they're closing for. Would you not? Would you not agree with that? I would say the values are more than what they're actually being bought.
Not necessarily now. And the reason why I'm pausing is that a few months ago, I was saying, yes, that's what was happening.
When we were at 660 for the median, you would have said yes?
What do you mean? When you're, I lost you there, Johnny. What do you mean? Maybe I'm missing your point.
So again, at 615, we're seeing, you say the values are coming down. We're talking about the closed sales, right?
Right, closed sales price.
Would you say the vast majority of these homes are actually they're closing for less than the appraised value?
No.
I don't. Mike knows because he sees appraisals all the time. I think there was a time where that was happening,
but a few months ago, back when our median was 660. You think?
Well, that to me, to be honest with you, the 660 was 1 month, and there was hardly anything in there that was close to the 660. So that was like an outlier as far as I'm concerned. I'm just.
But it was brought into the equation.
You're right. No,
you brought it in.
Right, and the reason why I brought it in is because the stats there for this year, without a doubt.
Sure.
But I don't believe that most of the houses are selling under appraised value. What I think has happened is people put houses on the market above appraised value, thinking it was the appraised value. They put it out above, and then they sat on the market for months and months and months and months. They dropped the price a bunch of times, and it finally sold. And where it sold, it was probably selling at the appraised value or close to the appraised value. Was it up like maybe they got 3%
or above appraised value? If you look at that, like just on that point, Johnny. So when May 645, June 660, July 645. Right. So you had 1 month where it was 15,000 higher than the previous month. Well, guess what? Appraisers are looking at comps from the month prior. So like if you just take that number right there, you might have overpaid July of 2024 for some reason.
So I just feel like that overpaying, that like cash game, because appraised value is going to be your cap for, you know, how much you can get a loan for. For those that don't know, appraisal is going to cap for what you can get your loan, right?
Yeah, when we talk about LTV or loan to value, the value, so the loan is the loan amount. The value is, it starts as the purchase price, the agreed upon purchase price, but ultimately the appraisal has to agree with that. And if the appraisal comes in lower, then your V is now the lower of those two. So it's the lower appraised value.
Right.
And so it just kind of, if you're borrowing, say, 80% of the value, if V goes down, your 80% goes down as well.
Right. So what we have now, talking about, are we in a seller's market or a buyer's market? The first sign we have is the median sales price is down 6.8% from the peak of this year, right? Now, the second thing, the amount of closed sales that we had. Last year, we had 1,102 sales for single-family homes in September 2023. This month, September 2024, we have 932 sales. That's down 15.4%. But actually, it's much higher is percentage. The change year over year might only be 15.4%, but our median, our average monthly sales over the last 3 or 4 years is about 1,500 sales a month. So if we're only at 932, we're down about 33% from our normal sales every single month.
Wow, inventory is up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, that's just the closed sales. So closed sales are down 30-something% from our normal average, right? Even though the year over year is only showing 15%, we're really down more than 30% if you really look at real numbers. Then you look at inventory, Johnny, which is true. Inventory, listen to this, in Palm Beach County is up compared to September of last year to September this year. We're up 44% in inventory increase. We now have 5,400 homes active on the market for single family homes in Palm Beach County. Last year, this time, we only had 37.
Any buyer out there, you should be pumping your fists in the air right now because, yeah, baby, let's go.
Yeah, it sounds like a buyer's market, right?
Well,
this all sounds
there.
like a buyer's market.
We're getting there.
Now, here's the other thing, months of supply of inventory. Traditionally, what the conventional wisdom is, when you're at 6 months of monthly supply of inventory, 6% is neutral. It's neither a buyer's market or a seller's market. Anything below 6 months, you're leaning towards a seller's market. Anything above 6 months, you're leaning towards a buyer's market. Now, the month of supply of inventory, and this to me is very interesting, even though our sales have been down, the inventory has been increasing 44% year over year. I don't disagree with that. But months of supply inventory, the highest we got to was 4.8 months of supply of inventory this year until September, and it only went up 0.1 to 4.9 months. So you would think at 4.9, we're in a still pretty strong seller's market, but that isn't the way it feels in real life. It doesn't feel like a seller's market right now.
Why don't we just say strong? I mean, we're bordering on that neutral market. Like we're right on the cusp of hitting neutral.
But it's taken a lot of homes, Johnny, to get, we had to increase 44% just to get a 0.1.
Absolutely.
increase.
But I wouldn't consider 5 months of inventory anywhere close to strong sellers. 1 month of inventory, now we're on the strong sellers.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We're basically neutral.
We had.
I really think we're in a buyer's market. I was
going to say we had such a strong, like, seller's market, meaning inventory limited for so long that 6 month neutral zone feels outdated.
Yeah,
right?
a little bit.
3 months, Jim. I think we converted, like, mentally. 3 months feels like the more of the neutral zone. So we're over that 3 month threshold.
Double,
right?
Almost.
Yeah. 1 month of inventory would be super strong seller's market. 2 months, not so, so at 3 months it shifts, or it feels like it, just because we've had it such, like short days on market for so long.
Right.
I'm showing now on YouTube and Facebook the median percentage of the median of original list price to sold price, right? And in 2021 and 2022, which was the height of the frenzied COVID market, Palm Beach County was consistently, almost for the whole 2 years of 21 and 2022, we were at over 100% of list price to original list price to sold price.
Yeah, it was
We
such
were
a bizarro world.
we were at
in.
101 to 102%. So if the house was on the market for 100,000, the average Palm Beach County property sold during those 2 years at 101 or 102,000 if they were asking 100. That was unheard of. I haven't even seen that. I don't even think we saw that in the 03 through 05 market, but we were at 102% for like 2 years, right?
This
Well,
is Palm Beach County.
Palm
right?
Beach County only, but this is very similar throughout all of South Florida, but I'm using that as the base because it's very in the middle to all 6 counties that we cover, which is Indian River, St. Lucie, Martin, Palm, Broward, and Dade.
Sure. And it is, you are using an example too of like a desired area. This is where the people live. It's where
Yes.
everybody wanted to move to.
Exactly.
Demand was high. And
Now-
inventory was low.
That's what
But,
happens.
but now the median original list price to sold price is only 94%. So we're down 6 to 7% of original list price to actual sold price compared to that peak of the frenzied COVID
that
market.
bizarro nutso world we were in.
And it's been slowly going down since middle of 2023. That it used to be 98%, then it was 97%, and now we're down to 94%. And I think it's going to continue to go down.
It's been 94% pretty much all year, right, Jim? Am I reading that properly?
It's the numbers are so tight on this. Oh, well, let me see here. 94, 94.
Yeah, those are all 94s.
Yeah, January we started in 94.4 and now we're at 94.1. So it has been going down every single month, but it's going down like 0.01 or 0.02 down. But we're in a declining market from original list price to actual price that closed. Also, the cash buyers, they're gone. The cash buyers are gone. We're down something like 34.
They're all on the West Coast now.
Yeah. Which we're going to talk about that. We're down September. We were down 21% for cash buyers compared to a year ago. So there's 21% less cash buyers than now. And so all of these things lead me to believe that we are right now in the midst of a buyer's market that's going to continue to be more of a buyer's market. This is not going to get less. This is going to end up being more, these buyer market situations. And if you're a buyer and you understand this, you can have a lot of opportunity here as a buyer. That's why Johnny's really looking really hard to see if he can make this switch. This might be a great time for him. Why? There's going to be motivated sellers out there, a lot of motivated sellers. So this is the time where the buyers can ask the seller, hey, I don't want to give you full asking price. And you know what? Not only do I not want to give you full asking price, but I'd like to get some concessions to you to help me either buy down my interest rate or to pay for some repairs after you move so that I don't have to pull all my money out of my pocket to spend it on the down payment and closing costs. So you're able to do those things now. And there are motivated sellers that are going to say, yes, I will do that with you. Not everybody, right? But there'll be way more.
Johnny's also a seller.
I was just talking to
I'm all right with that.
I was just talking to Mariana about this.
But I'm going to price my house appropriately. I'm not going to be rotting on market because we're overpriced. Or if we rot on market, it's because there's just
the market.
The market doesn't desire my spot.
Yeah,
it's going to be priced.
You know, another thing I saw in there, Jim. So when you're talking about year over year and those spikes, everything, I'm pretty sure every single year, excuse me, every month of the year was higher than the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So overall, that's an increase, an appreciating housing market, which kind of is like, well, how does that work? Like, why is the home we're in a buyer's market? It's been a buyer's market all year. Days on market is extending, inventory is increasing, but month to month, year over year, you sold it was a appreciating market.
That will be changing. That will be changing though over the next several months. We're not going to be reporting that way. It's going to be reporting that prices are declining right now.
Year over year.
And yes, year over year, and it's going to be month over month. I really believe that that's what's going to happen right now. So if you're a seller, and it's funny that you talked about that, when people are seller buyers like Johnny. They need to sell the house, take the proceeds from that to buy the new home.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared that when you're selling the house, you might not have the optimal situation for you at that point. You have to be reasonable. The fact that Johnny said, I'm going to price my house correctly based on the market. You have to do that in this market. You cannot play games in this market or you will be sitting there forever going through a lot of pain.
Well, yeah, you in the market or you on the market?
Right. Do you want to be in the game or you just want to be sitting there watching the game, right?
And
you want to be in the game, right?
Johnny's
you want to
just
be in the market.
A really good example of what we encourage people to do, which is to, like, what's most important factor for you, Johnny? It's not interest rates. It's not like insurance. It's the house, right? It's the house. And then once the house and the payment, essentially, right?
Of course. Yep.
Like those are the two things that he's like really actively or passively even, right? I mean, when you're doing it at home, is that active or passive? I don't know, right? He's not out looking at homes yet, right?
We're
But
not
he's
in the
looking
car.
at what's available.
Mhm.
He's crunching numbers to make sure it's fitting from the budget perspective. He's got a general idea of what kind of proceeds he can expect.
Yep.
Probably what, plus or minus 10,000, 20,000, right? So he's got a realistic expectation of what the market's going to bring him as far as selling goes.
Yep.
But most critical is like, is there a house out there that checks our boxes and the numbers that work?
Yeah, because when we actually ran the numbers the very first time, I don't know, a handful of months ago, we did not shoot for that like Mac Daddy top end. This is what we think we're going to get for my house. We actually went the lower end.
Right.
We actually went probably down here because it needs some TLC. You know, it's been lived in. We're there 10 years September.
Yeah.
10 years September. Yeah.
So we've done some upgrades. We
Mhm.
put impact windows in. There's a new AC inside out and ductwork. About
Resurface
5 years,
the
6
pool.
years. Just
put in a
resurface
new
the
fence.
pool. Yeah. So, but there's a lot that's been neglected over those years too. We priced what you and I decided what we thought roughly what the proceeds would be.
Sure.
We went really, really responsibly kind of disciplined with that number.
Conservative.
Okay. That's best said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You set your expectations. It's like you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver,
Ever.
right?
Never, not once in my life have I tried to do that.
Remember when you proposed to Tiffany?
Yes. I remember when I asked her out on our first date.
You're like, listen, don't expect much.
Temper your expectations.
Right. And it's been exceeding those expectations ever since. When the bar is so low.
Did I tell you I almost ruined it? Like literally putting her in the car. Open the door.
Wow,
put her in
such
the
a
car.
gentleman.
Right? Oh, yeah. And we were friends for a long time. Like this
Yeah.
is the way it even happened. We get in.
Wait, were you nervous?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
But I thought I was a hot shot. Get in, hit the dome light. I was like, brought something for you to suck on. And I handed her a lollipop. She almost got out of the car and ended it right there and then.
Oh, wow.
Because that was just too over the top.
Too assuming that she liked orange cream lollipops.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe a little too assumptive.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe she was disappointed.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, she's like, I like bigger lollipops.
What a jerk.
Yeah, total jerk, right?
You were DJ. That's a radio jock move there.
It was an almost poop the bed move. Thinking I was all slick, bringing a lollipop.
So
it worked out.
So
it did, yeah.
He took it out.
So in today
It's out.
So let's go ahead and go on to mortgage rates right now and talk about what's going on with the mortgage rates. Basically, there's not really a lot of good news on the mortgage rates right now. Everybody was expecting we're a month past the Fed rate cut. And let me pull it up right now.
Are we getting isn't November another Fed rate cut? I've been reading it was happening.
Yeah, I was voting no. My opinion was no because of the report, unless the reports came out a little different. We're going to get into that in a second about what the reports are showing. But I'm putting up the chart right now on Facebook and YouTube to actually show you where the interest rates have gone over the last year. And this chart is really interesting because when everybody was saying they were waiting for the interest rates to drop and the Fed cut to drop, the chart was going down like a rock almost the whole time. And then as soon as the interest rates cut, you could see the chart going back up like almost at a 45-degree angle going up.
Almost reactionary to the 0.5%.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we started with the Fed cut, the day before the Fed cut the rate, we were at 6.09 for Freddie Mac. Last week, we were at 6.44 for Freddie Mac. So what do you guys, you're not seeing it. Mike, you already know because you're a mortgage guy, and you're not seeing it because you're not on the computer, and neither is Jimmy, so I'm going to ask you to. So, Johnny, did we go up or down from 644 last week?
Probably what Mike would say, basically nothing, but probably slightly up.
Okay, what do you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, same thing. It's bumping up.
Yeah,
upwards.
so last week when I was at the show, I said, I know we're going to hit a 6.5 something, and could we go all the way up to 6.71? I said that could happen, so I was thinking 6.5 something to 6.71 would be the outlier. The 6.71, thank God, didn't happen, but we are at 6.54 right now. Now, 6.54 is not the real number that normal people are going to get when they go to get the loan. This is just a benchmark to show if interest rates are going up or down based on the Freddie Mac report that comes out every week. So, Mike, if the Freddie Mac report is 6.54 and you're doing FHA financing, right?
Okay.
And you have to pay PMI and everything, what do you think and let's just say you have decent credit, 640 or above, but not 770, and you're putting the 3.5% down. Normal people are probably paying in the high 6s to low 7s.
Sure. Yeah.
Could it be 7.25?
If you're on the lower end of credit, you say FHA. So it's you don't,
because they have
get
a
that
set
movement much in
PMI.
FHA.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you want to include the MI?
Yeah.
Well, if you include the MI, you tack on 0.55 to whatever your 30-year rate is.
Right.
So if you were at 6% with the MI, which is a good way to think about it, you're basically paying 6.55%.
Mm-hmm.
So I would
this is 7.09 right now. This would be 7.19 right now with the PMI.
With the FHA mortgage insurance at 0.55%.
So
but I don't really
but most of the people are in the 7s, right?
So I just wouldn't talk. I wouldn't include the MI because this doesn't include MI.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean? So I would just say, what's your
let me
FHA
ask you,
rate?
let me try to, I'm still trying to get to the right point. If I'm not asking the question correctly, I apologize. What are normal people getting when they're going in for a normal loan? They're not putting a huge down payment down, and they don't have excellent credit. They just have okay credit.
Yeah.
What are they normally paying right now for interest rates?
I would say somewhere between like 6.5 and 7.
Okay, 6.5
so in that
and
second
7.
half of the 6s, because the Freddie report, number one, doesn't tell you what you're paying in points, right? So they stopped reporting that at some point in the past, but you might be paying like a point in fees to get that 6.5.
Okay.
Right? So if you want to rate with no points, it's probably going to be higher than what you're seeing with Freddie,
in the cost.
Right? Yeah. So I would just say somewhere in the upper 6s right now. You could easily get an interest rate below the 6.5, but you're going to be paying for it.
Right. You have to pay extra in the closing costs in order to do that.
Right.
Or get one of those first-time homebuyer programs and qualify for 6%.
6%
exactly,
right
which
now
is what
very nice.
That's the smart move.
It's a callback.
So the question, this begs the question, the interest rates have only, well, with the exception of the first week, because it went from 6.09 to 6.08. And then after that, it went to 6.2 something and then 6.4 something. And now we're at 6.5 something, right? So why did that happen? Because everybody said that wasn't going to happen. What they said is they expected the interest rates to go down. Now, Mike has already explained last week about part of the reasons why they didn't go down after the Fed rate cut was because some of that was already built in because the market had already decided the Fed was going to cut the rate.
Right.
So they reacted early. So the fact that the Fed cut the rate, they were like, yeah, we expected that. In fact, if they didn't cut the rate that time, it would have changed the market in a different way if they didn't get that because they were expecting it.
And how do you follow the 10-year, the treasury yield? Well, when that goes up, the interest rates follow it?
That's right.
Well, we saw record highs on the 10-year treasury yield this week.
That's right. Well, that's
why the rates went up.
Well, that's the two reasons why the interest rates have gone up. The number one is the T-bill. And the Treasury bill, the 10-year Treasury bill, which is kind of more directly correlated to day-to-day interest rates. When Mike is trying to figure out what the interest rate a buyer is going to get, he goes into the T-bill that day, right? just to see what's going on.
If I'm watching like what's happening today with mortgage rates, I'm looking at the U.S. 10-year.
Right, you're not looking at Freddie Mac.
Yeah.
That's like a pulse. It's almost like a pulse on a heart chart or something like that, right?
And to show you how that can vary, I know this week was, or even late last week, like it hit like a high, and then it dipped down a little bit, and then it went to like record high.
Yeah, 4
in like a
4.6
matter of
or
a couple
something.
of days.
Yeah.
And I don't look at the number so much. I just look at the movement, right? So if it's up to when I look at it, if it's up from open, I know rates are going up.
He's
If it's
looking
down from
trending
open,
up or trending
yeah,
down or
sure.
flat,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
on that
first
day where it was, on those days where it was kind of pushing down a little bit, were the interest rates falling a little bit?
yeah, so it's like when you're pricing interest rates on a day, if I'm going in to lock somebody on a loan on that day, I'm basically looking at a moment in time. Okay, what are the rates that are available?
Right.
And so people those rates are changing multiple times per day based on what the bond is doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so why are the mortgage rates going up? Number one is the economic data. So the T-bill is going up, and the reason why the T-bill's been going up is, first of all, we had this very strong job market report for September. It came out to 242,000 jobs created, and supposedly they were good jobs and they were higher paying jobs than normal. And because of that, what we saw because of that was the Fed cutting the rate 0.5 point. Now, the reason why they did that, they were not worried about inflation anymore. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going back. The reason why they cut the 0.5 point was because the job market report in August was weak.
Lower
and they
than
were
they expected.
way lower.
Yeah.
It was like
And then the next month it rebounded.
and then they
massively
got caught by after they did the Fed cut rate. So the first
Ruh-roh.
thing is that they said, okay, because the job market report was light in August,
Panic
and
button.
that we felt that inflation is coming down and it's manageable, we're going to go ahead and do the half cut because we're worried about unemployment. Then the September, they cut it 0.5 point. Then the September jobs report came out. It came out very strong, unexpectedly strong, with good paying jobs and actually wage increases that are beating inflation by double right now. That was one of the first reports that showed that. But then a week after that, like October 10th, a week after that, the consumer price index came in and showed that inflation hasn't been completely wiped out yet to the number that they wanted to, and it was starting to creep back up again.
Oh, we know. We shop.
So
every
that
week.
is telling me, at first, that was telling me that they are going to maybe not cut the rates because the
Right.
job report came out so strong. But now with the inflation kind of rearing back up, that might lead to no cuts in November or December, the last two meetings for this year, but that's not conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom with the national economists and Wall Street, which I don't like Wall Street, I like Main Street, but the Wall Streeters and them are already baking in that we're going to have at least one more quarter point cut, if not 2 quarter point cuts. I'm not sure that that's going to lean that way, but everybody's pushing really hard for that. So, so the economic data is one of the reasons why the interest rates have not gone down. Now, the second reason that they're all saying that we haven't had a drop in the mortgage rate since the Fed cut is the election. And I've never seen this as part of a reason why a determination of the rates. I've heard regular people go, I'm not going to do anything to buy or sell until after the election. I want to wait for the election. I've heard that ever since we've had this show.
Which makes very little sense.
It
But
makes
hey,
no
whatever,
sense.
whatever is in your head.
Right. It's almost like the truthiness. If it
Yeah.
feels right, that's what I'm going to do,
Right,
even
right.
if it isn't right.
Alternative facts for a lot of people.
Yeah, alternative facts. That's a good one. But the thing is that this is the first time I'm reading in news articles. That's a reason why the interest rates have not dropped, because there are not enough people being involved in real estate right now because they're just sitting on the sidelines waiting to see if the red or the blue is going to win in this next election.
Because that determines what happens with our economy, right? Is it going to
Evidently.
be a good economy? Is it going to be a bad economy?
Evidently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like, wouldn't you think you try to spur the business by it just seems counterproductive to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's probably very easy to overanalyze it and put too much emphasis on it, because I think at the end of the day, the economy is going to do what it does.
Yep.
Right. Like so the election isn't as important as people make it out to be as it relates to the economy.
In my opinion, we went through not 2012 because the election had just been finished when we started the show. So we weren't involved in the 2012 election, right? but we were in 2016, 2020, and 2024, right? This year and the last 3 presidential elections, including this time. And we've always heard people say that they felt like whoever wins the presidency was really going to affect the real estate market one way or the other. Well, we can't determine what's going to happen with this election, but the last 2 elections before this, 2016, 2020, we can't really point to anything that happened with even the first year after that president was elected that really affected the real estate market in any real way.
You know, the key word there is felt like. The people feel it.
Exactly.
It's a feeling. It's an emotional thing. Facts mean very little in these scenarios. It's all about how I feel, and that's what we're gonna run.
I mean, we do know this. We do know that the Fed, for as long as this show's been on, has been concerned about the economy and held interest rates low artificially to kind of prop up
far too long.
Yes, because of COVID, lending, because of the whole COVID thing.
Even before that,
even before that, right? Yeah, right? we went QE in 2008, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but in 2018 we started to raise the rates again. That's what I'm saying. We raised it about 1.5 points or something, and then we slid backwards because of COVID. So we were trying to correct it a little earlier. But then when COVID hit, everybody was just like lost their religion, and we went down to 2.65, which is almost like crack mortgage.
There's one, right? I think there's one thing that a lot of people don't quite realize. Imagine if the Fed would have adjusted rates probably the way they should have, and our starting point was 4 or 5%, and then inflation gets recognized. And I say recognized because it existed, they just didn't recognize it quite until after COVID. Then they recognize it, and then they adjust.
Now we're at
fight inflation,
8, 9.
We'd be at like 10%. Yeah. We are so lucky they screwed the pooch, as they say, the proverbial pooch, and didn't adjust the rates the way appropriately that they should have. If the economy was so damn great, there was a 4-year run under our last president where I heard every day for 4 years how amazing things were. So we should have been bumping them up the whole time there.
Sure.
And then the shell shocking of a reaction to inflation, we'd be pounded right now if that was actually done.
Well, if they had adjusted the Fed reserve rates earlier, like you and me agreed, Johnny, that we should have done, right? We wouldn't have seen the affordability crisis as much as we are now, because that's what kept the housing prices going up despite
so you nailed
all
it.
these issues.
We said it when it happened, and maybe it was just me. I think you guys agreed. It felt like they were only trying to control the housing.
You were saying that the whole time.
It felt that way, and now that statement almost kind of verifies it in a way.
Yep.
We are in this, like we talk about real estate. This show's about real estate, so it's easy to get into that. Like this, the Fed is controlling housing, like they're controlling the real estate. This whole thing with the rates, they want to thin out the real estate, agent market. They want agents to, thin out the herd, so to speak. But I had one more thought about the election, and not to get political, we try to not stay political, but there is one candidate who basically, if I just gave it away.
Yeah, well, you just said
Kennedy back down.
You would almost has talked about strong arming the Fed essentially to say, hey, these rates got to come down. Like the rates got to come down.
He did that in 2018 when they started raising the rates. He really put pressure on the Fed, which actually was Jerome Powell at that time too.
Yeah.
And he was putting pressure on Powell saying, I don't believe you should be raising these rates right now. Now, to be fair,
and
he probably was right.
But in the same breath talking how amazing the economy was.
But
like they
the thing was he probably was right, because Powell, and this is why I'm saying this, because you got to be fair to both sides. Powell actually said he raised the rates like 3 times in 2018, and then early 2019 he actually said this, I think I made a mistake. Inflation never reared its ugly head, because he was trying to get in front of inflation, and the inflation never happened.
No.
This economy, well, it happened much later. It happened like 4 years later.
I was talking about inflation like every day, almost essentially, when I was on the radio, like every day. It just wasn't quote unquote like dubbed or labeled. If you spent every day, you're like, inflation's a thing. Like it's real. It just wasn't like recognized as something we're trying to control until COVID. And it was all about the shutdown. I mean, really, it was about supply chains. that thrust us
Right.
into that chaos.
Right.
But we've had it amazingly good compared to the rest of the world. Like, again, people lose sight of how amazing we have it.
When people say that like our economy is crap, and stuff like that,
I don't say that because I'm in
I'm
it
talking
every
about
day.
the conventional wisdom.
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
hear
conventional
it just
wisdom.
isn't.
Go do some things. Realize how much money's being spent.
It isn't based in fact. And until COVID, we had a strong economy with the former president. We had a strong economy with the president that we've had now, right?
Yeah.
And even before that,
Yeah.
but he had to clean up a mess, right?
A big
Obama had to
mess.
clean up a big mess, so
Big
it took
mess.
a long time to crawl out of the hole. But Trump took the baton from a good economy, and basically the economy stayed strong until we had COVID. Not his fault. But when Biden took over, the economy is very similar to the 2016 to 2019 economy. Very similar. Stock market records at the time, we had it in the previous president. We've had multiple stock market records even now, as we're talking right now.
Yep.
Now there were,
Just doesn't get talked
there
about.
were downsides on both economies. Like under the Trump economy, and Mike's family in the Midwest know this better than anybody. When they started doing those tariffs, we had to take tens of billions of dollars to give money to farmers that were getting screwed over by the tariffs because China wasn't buying our soy and corn anymore because of the tariffs as a punishment to us. And then the farmers really started getting screwed, and we started giving them bailouts. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't, because we created the problem by doing the tariffs in the first place.
Is tariff the most beautiful word in the dictionary? Did I hear something like that?
But the thing is, so there was a little down part there, but overall the economy was very strong during that time. Now, during Biden's presidency, we've had very similar numbers on employment and keeping job growth strong. The problem that Biden had is that we have inflationary issues that we didn't have in 2016 to 2019.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can pick little things on either side to say, well, this is not good and that's not good. And both sides will be true when you say that. But overall, the economy in the United States, every single world economy would wish they had the economy we have right now. I mean, I just read where Russia, they just increased their Fed reserve rate. They increased it by 4 points this month, 4% increase. They're at 21% Fed rate, right? We're at 5.
Yeah.
Right. They're at 21%.
Did you see, speaking of Russia, did you read at all about the BRICS or BRACS gathering?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, it's not a nothing burger. They're going to manipulate grain.
Their economy isn't strong enough.
Well, no, but we're talking about some of the biggest producers in the world coming together: Indonesia, Uganda.
Even if you add it all together, people don't even realize this. You know what the economy for Russia is? It's the same. It's actually a little bit less than the total economy for Texas.
Oh, sure.
Russia, it has.
You mean their GDP?
Their GDP is just slightly less than Texas.
So
because it's fossil fuel.
If you didn't read about the gathering in
fossil
Russia, this BRICS gathering, it's a bunch of nations coming together, and what they're trying to do is
take over the dollar,
devalue the dollar as a global kind of answer, or the dictator, the global dictator, and they're going to, what they want to do is utilize their power play in grain, soy. There's a couple other fields where they produce a ton, and they may be able to work together. It's like some pretty power players in there.
I think the whole thing's going to collapse, and there's two reasons for that.
Kind of with you on that.
The number one reason is that all of those countries manipulate their currency. We do not. Well, we can argue that we don't manipulate the currency, okay? But with the Fed, thing,
every time the Fed gets attention, it's a
I've been to the mint in DC.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, it isn't just that; it's that the governments that are involved in this, they're don't get along with each other really well. They say they want to get along, but they can't. So that whole thing, that's going to collapse. Those groups are going to pretty much collapse.
I'm with you
on
but
each other.
It is worthy of paying attention to.
Yeah. But what I'm wondering is what the heck is Turkey doing over there? They're part of NATO, and now they're part of BRIC. What the heck's going on?
They're
with
the only
that?
country that's part Europe and part Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
The only one.
I'll tell you what, we didn't get to the love bugs this week, but next week we're going to talk
Nobody
about
got
love
to
bugs.
any love
Yeah,
bugs
we're going to
this
get
week.
into the love bugs next week because it is kind of interesting stuff I have. Hope you guys enjoyed the show this week. If you have any questions about real estate, what do they do, Johnny?
Well, it's easy. You can go to floridatalkrealestate.com. You can find them on Facebook and YouTube as well, and you should consume all of that. There's a ton of information to be had, and you can always reach out on Facebook. But floridatalkrealestate.com is the one-stop real estate shop, the hub of all things that is. Pros, experts in their field, working cohesively together to try to get done what you're trying to get done. Buying a home, selling a home, stuck with a home you don't know what to do, planning for your future, family. Like if it touches the world of real estate, I got a professional to handle that. And I encourage you to write it down. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives, yours included, with the pros at floridatalkrealestate.com. floridatalkrealestate.com. There's a hotline. Call it if you'd like. If you're old school, pick up the phone, 888-973-7828. You'll find the hotline at floridatalkrealestate.com. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. I hope you have an excellent weekend.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy the beautiful weather this weekend, everybody.
I hope it's nice. Yeah. And thanks for your efforts every Saturday.
Boom. Thank you, sir.
Jimothy, I appreciate your efforts as always.
Thank you.
I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Johnny. As you as well. Mike, Jim, have a great weekend, guys.
My friend. That's
Thank
right.
you.
There's Jimmy D, Jim DePolo with the Florida Home Pros team.